releases documents indicating payment schedules for them. Clocksack, meanwhile, has been taking shots at fellow union, the Trades Union Congress, describing them as poisonous in Labour's fight for their pound of flesh. And later on, in the Upper East region, armed robbers gunned down 2 persons at Sitande in the Zebula Boku West district in the Upper East region. Details of these stories and a lot more coming up shortly if you stay with us. A pleasure that you could be a part of this afternoon's bulletin. I am Eric Mawuena Egbeta. Let's begin from the courts, because the Supreme Court has, via a unanimous decision, dismissed the review application filed by private legal practitioner and plaintiff Justice Abdullahi over the voting rights of speakers. The highest court of the land on March 9 ruled that deputy speakers, even when presiding over parliamentary proceedings, reserve the right to vote and can be counted as part of a quorum for decision making. Ms. Abdullahi, who filed the matter, headed back to the Supreme Court insisting the judges got it wrong, but the argument was challenged by the Deputy Attorney General Dinah Asonaba. Let's take you to the courts now, where my colleague Richard Brighter is just returning from for some more. Richard, you were present through proceedings today. Walk us through it as it happened.
Yeah, so Mawuena, we are looking at the applicant, Justice Abdullahi. Remember, in his earlier application, he argued that the judgment constitutes exceptional circumstances and a miscarriage of justice. And he's actually saying that the court ignored portions of the Interpretation Act or the previous constitutions. So because the previous constitutions has antecedents and all of that, and the court ignored all those portions.
Right.
And so he was seeking or prayed the court to look at the legislative antecedents and then previous parliament that did not or never allowed speakers or deputy speakers to vote. And so today, the judges, 9 of them, because it's a review.
nine-member panel.
Because the earlier one was
7-member
which
panel.
Unanimously dismissed all the cases. The 9 judges decided that they asked the applicants, are you saying that we did not read all of those things? And what they said was that the earlier ones, or which is the Interpretation Act, does not apply to constitutional or written constitution as it stands now. And so they dismissed it outright.
Now, Justice Abdullahi had some words to tell you, journalists, after the ruling. What exactly were his thoughts on the decision by the court?
Yeah, so Mawuena, a quick one. He said that he didn't want posterity to question why they had this small window of opportunity, but they failed to take advantage, and that what he has done, posterity will be the better judge.
Obviously, prior to today, I had made it clear that a review application is probably one of the most difficult things to succeed in at the Supreme Court. And so I knew the odds were against me. Indeed, some had predicted 1:100. I had predicted almost 0, except that I still moved forward with this because, in principle, as I said, I believe that the Supreme Court is made of seasoned lawyers, and if you make strong arguments before you've decided otherwise, I think we have to move on as a nation. What I didn't want was a situation where posterity would question us as to why we didn't take this small window of opportunity that was available to us to attempt a review for a possible review of the decision of the Supreme Court on the 9th of March. And so once we've decided this way, I think posterity will judge us all in a positive light, considering that we did everything that we ought to have done to get the sort of judgment that we needed. But this is what the Supreme Court says, and we all have to abide by that and live together as one nation going forward.
So that's Justice Abdullahi saying that it was quite expected, but he decided to proceed nonetheless. What was the reaction of the Deputy Attorney General, Dinah Asonaba, who was in court and challenged the argument put forth by Justice Abdullahi?
Yes, Mawuena, let's not forget that it's the AG, that's the Deputy AG, Diana Asonabadapa, who also prayed the court to dismiss the case because it lacked procedural or it was unmeritorious. And so the judges actually looked at that. In the judges' ruling, they did not say it's kind of he breached court proceedings or that, but they said it's unmeritorious. And so the lady is saying that this judgment should bring a finality to the whole argument. Let's take a listen.
Relies on meritorious and clearly an abuse of the process of the So yes, I am satisfied with the ruling of the honorable court.
I mean, from the process that he found, I mean, do you think that had he marshaled those arguments in the initial matter, that could have failed? I mean, because the review window certainly is a smaller window.
Definitely. So as we heard the honorable court hold, the review application is very strict and the grounds clearly stated, and one needs to find his case within the threshold set for a review application, that exceptional circumstances which has occasioned a great miscarriage of justice, and there are new information that has been discovered which was not present at the time of the decision, on the basis that the court ought to have had regard to previous constitutions and other statutes of the Commonwealth will still have held.
So that's the Deputy AG. You have some more from the court about the cost awarded.
Well, finally, the judges asked the AG whether it wants to award any cost of damages against the applicants, which the woman said no, she's not prepared to do that.
Right then. That's Richard Brighter, my colleague who was present in court for us. Let's get some more reactions to this. Let's speak to Kingsley Amwakwa Bedu. He's a private legal practitioner for some more as well. Many thanks for speaking to us this afternoon, sir. Now, interesting decision by the Apex Court to, by a unanimous decision, dismiss the review application. Your reaction to this?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your listeners. I expected this to happen. I expected it to happen because the review is not an appeal. The review is for the judge to reconsider their position. And so you have to, it's a very narrow gate that you have to go through, or a very high threshold that you have to be able to jump over. And that is that the decision they have given has occasioned a grievous miscarriage of justice, and which is a difficult thing to prove. And the second thing is that there's something new that, due to all diligence you undertake, it wasn't brought to your attention, which would have swayed the judges to give a different judgment or a different ruling. So these are the two grounds. And my colleague justice bases his review application on just the first one, that is a gross miscarriage of justice. And in doing so, said that because there are antecedents in previous constitutions and previous acts, the court should have considered that. And that would be difficult to justify because the judges they normally read wide and they will be bound by the current constitution. All right. And the act, especially the Parliamentary Act at 300 and the parliamentary proceedings to make a decision. They will not be bound by any other rules. It will probably guide them or inform them as to how to separate the constitutional provisions, which is 102 and 104.
Right.
102 and 104. But they are not bound by that. So to rely on those as antecedent acts, I thought we were stretching the argument a bit too far. And so that's the decision of the Supreme Court.
So no surprises for you there, but for many, what happens to some of the grey areas that came up following the ruling? As we've seen, following that ruling, there's been a difficulty in the legislature in terms of even passing loan agreement where the minority continues to raise issues of quorum and all that. Does this mean that there can't be any other review going forward on some of these matters again?
No, the Court of Appeal judgment cannot be appealed again. That's the last point where you're asking for something to be done or a determination to be made. Now, after that, you only have a review if it miscarries justice. So let's not even equate a review to that of an appeal. They are two different things. Now, that the members of parliament will have difficulties. It is because members of parliament have their parliamentary proceedings. Just remember, the parliamentary proceedings are not even an act of parliament, let alone a constitutional proceeding. So they can equally amend their parliamentary proceedings to respect the position of the Supreme Court that a deputy speaker has a voting right. So I think that's what should happen. I believe the issue of quorum is a different matter altogether, because that's also before the Supreme Court. And so we would not comment on it. We definitely will have a view, I would definitely have a legal position, but we cannot express that view
until the court sits on the matter. I appreciate that you could speak to us this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
That's Kingsley Amakwa Boedu. He is a private legal practitioner reacting to the dismissal of the review application by Justice Abdullahi to that March 9 ruling on the voting rights of deputy speakers while they preside over matters in the legislature. To another story that has been in the news since last week that has to do with the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana. They say they will not call off their strike until the Finance Ministry releases documents indicating payment schedules for the payment of their controversial allowance. CLOGSAC has been on strike over the non-payment of a neutrality allowance, which constitutes 20% of their basic pay. That agitation has resulted in widespread condemnation by the citizenry and other think tanks. Despite all these, the state has agreed to make the payment starting from October of this year. But according to Executive Secretary of CLOGSAC, Isaac Bampoado, they must be commended for negotiating the allowance for their members rather than receive condemnation.
If you people are saying that we have outwitted and played the first one on them, it's negotiation. Then we should be congratulated for doing a good job, because that's what negotiation is all about. And mind you, this neutrality allowance that is only a minute part of our broader conditions of service. There are more goodies that we've already finished about 80%. We don't do double work. We want to justify at the negotiating table, and then some people are asking questions. We don't do double work. Me, I don't do double work. If you want to do double work, you can go with double work. But we don't do double work. We've justified whatever allowances that we've been given at the negotiating table. It's signed and sealed. Signed and sealed. So if you don't understand, what? Go and sleep. Go and sleep. Go and sleep. Yeah, the National Labour Commission has directed, that's by tomorrow, 27th April, the finance will come out with a payment plan. A payment plan, not justification, a payment plan for our neutrality allowance. So that's what we're waiting for. So tomorrow we're all going to National Labour Commission. So we hope they have that plan.
So finance is trying to still on.
It's on, live. Live.
So that's CLOGSAC boss Isaac Bampoado. They've also been accusing the Trades Union Congress of acting in bad faith, signing documents to the detriment of labor unions. Let's get more on this accusation from labor correspondent Daniel Opoku, who was present at that news conference. Daniel, what is informing this accusation from CLOGSAC against the TUC?
Right, as you can recall, about 3 weeks ago, the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations convened a labor conference at Kwewu, where they invited all labor unions across the country to converge and discuss economic conditions, the need to review the salary, the single spine salary structure, and also to look at improving salaries for various public sector workers. But at that conference, after the what they realized was there was a need to sign a document, and that's what the concern of CLOGSAC currently. CLOGSAC is arguing that when that document was signed, they did not participate in the signing of the document, and also did not see the contents of the document, because usually when organized labor meets, is the Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress who serves as a spokesperson for organized labor. So CLOGSAC is accusing the Secretary General for going undercover to sign a document which they are not privy to the content. And just about a week ago, the Trades Union Congress, organized labor, said that we're going to embark on a nationwide demonstration to make demands for salary increases and all that. Now, CLOGSAC is arguing that the Secretary General had gone to sign a document, He says that there was a need to sit and see how dialogue could be done and also expand the need for thorough negotiations. Now, based on that, when we just oppose that one with what the Secretary General said last week, they believe that the Secretary General has acted in bad faith. For that reason, there's a need for them to disassociate themselves from joining the Trade Union Congress or join the Trade Union to celebrate this year's May Day. So basically, that's the concern of Clarkson Karen as we speak.
And they say they are not going to be a part of the May Day Workers' Day celebration as a result of this.
Absolutely, because usually over the years, when committees are set up to look at how May Days are celebrated, you have a representative from several local government staff association to join the team. As I speak to you, the committee has met about 3 times where several local government staff association has declined to send a rep. And last year, a similar incident happened where Clarkson disassociated themselves from joining the Trade Union Congress to celebrate this year May Day. They are repeating the same issue this year, that they are not joining the TUC to celebrate this year's May Day. So the Clarkson will be celebrating its own May Day, while TUC will lead organized labor to celebrate this year's May Day.
Right then, many thanks. That's our Labour correspondent Daniel Opoku providing some more details from that press conference by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana. Let's hear from the boss, Isaac Bampoado, speak to their issues with TUC, describing them as poisonous.
Some of our colleagues are here who were like, this document declaration was somewhat brought forth for discussion. Where the TUC went to hide and sign it, they are the only people who can answer this question. They are poisonous. In fact, this is poisonous. And this is not the first time. When it came to pensions, they kicked against pensions. They are still kicking against the 3-tier pension. Poisonous, they are poisonous. That's why we don't want to associate ourselves with them again. They are poisonous. We don't want them to contaminate us. No.
Look, when you listen,
they are poisonous.
When you listen to what
they are poisonous. That's the answer.
You made some quotations from him, and I would like to refer to the same quotations.
Yes, I'll answer you. You don't need to go far. You, TUC, you've gone and signed a declaration that Fair Wage Exercise Commission and Ministry of Finance should determine the quantum. And then you go and do a press conference giving conditionalities. Why did you tell all of us that you're going to sign a declaration? And in your declaration, you didn't give any conditionalities. So why are you not giving conditionality? They are throwing dust into our eyes. They are poisonous. And we will not associate with them.
That's Isaac Bampoado. He's the executive secretary of Clarkson. Will stay in the capital a while longer because there was a fire incident yesterday and the Ghana National Fire Service has commenced investigations into that fire outbreak that ravaged several shops at the Opera Square in Accra on Monday. Investigators will, among other things, look into claims that the inferno, which began from a Chinese-owned shop, was caused by sparks from ongoing welding works. Eyewitnesses have told the media the shop owners were seen working with flames. Let's listen to one of the eyewitnesses who spoke to Armstrong Gold Alogba.
The Chinese people, and so they are welding something inside there. So I called my brother, telling him that, look at this thing that they are welding there, it can even bend. So I said, this thing finish, and I don't know. I said, okay, let me enter inside and come. So as I'm seeing the thing, I see the thing, say that, the thing that these people are welding, Charlie, it can bend this building. No. So I went inside, no. I was there sitting down, as they came, one of my brother came and told me that, the building is burning. So what I said, it came true. And I said, okay. So me too, I came out and come and see what is going on. So that is all that it to.
Oh, so you saw some Chinese national burning something up there?
Yeah, they are burning. They are welding. They are welding something.
Oh, they were welding something at the top of the building.
An eyewitness speaking to colleague Armstrong Gold Alogbe, or officer with the Public Affairs Department of the Ghana National Fire Service, Assistant Divisional Officer 2, Alex Kinati, says the investigations will also include examination of the structural integrity of the building.
Investigations are ongoing, so I wouldn't want to preempt. Yes, a few of the people there mentioned something like that, but investigations will further, give us a concrete.
Have you also heard that there was some welding works going on before the fire outbreak? They were welding some metals at the top.
Okay, I'm not aware. Someone, again, as I said, so you see, when we go to fire scenes, during our investigations, we talk to people to get to know what happened. So we would conduct, it will all be part of our interview, and if we realize that these things were the reasons that perpetrated the fire, or these things caused the fire, we'll hand them over to the police to be dealt with.
That's the Public Affairs Department, a member of the Public Affairs Department of the Ghana National Fire Service. Meanwhile, the fire officer has been paying off allegations that the water hose used in fighting the fire yesterday had defects.
So just a few hoses that had fractures. Most of the hoses were very much active and working. And if you watch the video, you realize that the hoses need to work in order for you to get the pressure to fight the fire. And if you watch from the video, our men, even on the turntable ladder, had so much. There was so much pressure in fighting the fire. Come on, the turntable ladder was even up the sky, fighting the fire.
Alex.
That's a member of the Public Relations Department of the Ghana National Fire Service, Assistant Divisional Officer 2, Alex Kin Nato, will remain in the capital a while longer because the Greater Accra Coordinating Council is deploying about 1,000 city response task force to see to the enforcement of the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative. The task force, having gone through a 1-month training with the Ghana Armed Forces, has been charged with the responsibility of ensuring compliance with the Operation Clean Your Frontage bylaws. Joseph Armstrong Goda Logbe, he has been to that passing out ceremony. He'll join us a lot later with some more details on this. But let's go up north now, where 2 young men have been gunned down by suspected armed robbers at Sitande Isebeb of Zebila in the Bokoas district of the Upper East region. The 2 met their untimely death when they reportedly responded to a distress call in their neighborhood. The incident reportedly occurred between the hours of 8 and 9 Monday evening. Eyewitnesses say gun-wielding robbers numbering about 6 had invaded the market located at Sitande. They claimed they heard a gunshot followed by screaming from market women. This attracted the attention of neighbors who rushed to the scene, but the robbers opened fire on the 2. The robbers then took to their heels amidst indiscriminate firing of gunshot. The 2 victims were rushed to the Zebila Government Hospital, where one was confirmed dead on arrival. The other, who was in critical condition, was referred to the Bolgatanga Regional Hospital for treatment, but he also died on arrival. Police have since visited the scene of the crime as investigation begin in earnest. No arrests have been made just as yet. You're still listening to the news here on 3FM 92.7. A lot more details coming up shortly as we bring you more stories. And the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, he's been visiting a number of cement factories in the capital. My colleague Nancy Vukania has been touring with the minister. She joins us on phone. Nancy, where have you visited and what has the minister been telling some of these factories?
Mawuena, it is the Works and Housing Minister, Francis Asensubuachi, not the Lands and Mines Minister. But so far, we've gone to Diamond Cement, we've been to Gassam, and currently we're at Jata Cement. And I believe the next stop will be Dangote Cement Factory, which has not been in the country for too long. Now, the minister has 2 proposals. Basically stemming from the fact that we still have a 1.8 million housing deficit, and the fact that the 2021 population and housing census says that 12% of housing developed are empty, especially in Accra, because the population are just not able to afford the housing available. All this stems from that, and the affordable housing project, which is about to be rolled out by government, is why the minister is here. He is galvanizing support for the affordable housing project. He's speaking to cement producers in the private sector, trying to get them on board to collaborate and to give special discounts to government purchases when it comes to cement and other building materials. He's also requesting that private sector involved in cement production should collaborate with research institutions locally, especially the KNUST, Department for Building Technology, that has come up with many innovations, and so that they can take advantage of the huge deposits of clay in Ghana and also huge deposits of limestone. If you recall, the portion of the limestone used in cement production is produced locally, but most of it is imported. The granite dust is also the components that's produced locally, but apart from that, the gypsum and the clinker, which are some of the very important components of cement production, are all imported, mostly some from Togo, and also geopolitics is involved now from Ukraine as well. A lot of clinker comes from there, and some limestone as well. So therefore, the minister is asking the cement producing community to look within Ghana and to also explore some opportunities to extract limestone and use clay and other local materials to produce the cement that they're doing.
Right then, let's take a listen to the minister. That was my colleague.
We are about to roll out an affordable housing program, and we think that it is important that we engage with you, the key cement manufacturing companies, so that we can strike a deal for you to provide some sort of special discounted cement for all housing programs or projects that the ministry will designate or classify as affordable housing projects. If for anything at all, you should do this as a national assignment and your corporate social responsibility. Yeah. We also came here to also understand your operations and what is it that whether you are facing some challenges for which you believe that government can help, because we believe that if you can collaborate and help address your challenges, it can also help reduce the cost of cement.
That's the Works and Housing Minister Francis Asenso Boakye. Now, President Akufo-Addo has eulogized the late former Kenyan President Mwai Kibaki, describing him as a man who lived a life of service to the people of Kenya. The President was at the Kenyan High Commission today to sign the book of condolence open in honor of the late Kenyan leader. Here is President Akufo-Addo.
It's a sad day for all of us on the continent. This is one of the senior figures, a man who gave so much of his life to the public service of his country. I heard the news. I made efforts to try and express in person my condolence to President Kenyatta. Unfortunately, 2 days ago, I was able to get him on the phone. But I felt I should come here and formalize the expression of condolence, not only on my own behalf personally, but on behalf of the government and people of Ghana, to the passing of an African statesman of high standing. So that is why we're here. Express to you, his family, and the people of Kenya our deep condolences about what has happened. And hopefully that his departure and exit, I have no doubt, will be decently arranged. Ghana will be represented on the occasion.
So that's President Akufo-Addo speaking at the Kenyan High Commission. That will be it for this afternoon's edition of the Bulletin. But before we go, later on at 1 p.m., the business team will come up with Business Daily and what to look out for. GDP grew by 5.4% last year, but why would people say that it doesn't reflect in their pocket? Join the business team later at 1 p.m. as they provide answers to you on that and more later at 1 p.m. I am Eric Mawuena Egbeta. Pleasure as always having you do the listening.